Hello?
Johnny.
Hello?
Johnny Kush.
Is there somebody there for Kua? Nobody's ever noticed that my name is spelt wrong on my intro.
I wasn't sure if that was on purpose or not.
I just wanted to see if anybody was paying attention, and nobody was.
I was.
I got my wrong. Twitter address on there too. That's real smart.
Wow.
Now I'm like, maybe I should probably fix that. Maybe I'd get more Twitter followers if I had the right Twitter handle on.
Probably, yeah.
You never know, though. All right, so what's happening?
You ready to get fucking Rekeita, bro?
Oh, I think I'm there. So,
so I was listening to your show at the Mhhnetwork, and you were relaying a story about your swinging lifestyle that you had with was it Johnny Kush, or does that even matter?
Well, her and quite a few others over the years.
Yeah, and you relayed a story that I just found so funny, and when I wanted to have this discussion, I figured you were the perfect one to have it with because of your honesty and your experience. And you were discussing how you would hear sounds from your then wife that you would never hear when you were alone with her, when you were participating in a swinging type endeavor, right?
Right. I mean, we were married at that point for about 5 years. It was getting kind of paint by numbers. You know what I mean? When you get in with somebody, you're like, how is the quickest way I can make this person come with the lowest amount of effort?
Yes.
Well, and it's good sex. Sex is good like that, but you just don't have that earth rattling sex like you do with other people. It's new. Yeah. It's exciting. You don't know if they're going to try to kill you. You don't know what it is. I looked at it as if we do swap and the guy has a smaller dick than me, I'm completely into it. If the guy is, the guy doesn't last that long. He's terrible in bed. Doesn't even know how to eat a pussy. Just like the worst sexual experience she's ever had. That's what I hope would happen. But no, we get a Major League Baseball player, literally. I'm not even kidding.
Oh my word!
This guy is in 10 times the shape I am, 10 times the look, and I swear to God, I thought I was about ready to come into the room because I thought you were being murdered. No, she was literally taken to Pound Town, like she's never been banged out like that before, and I can't do it.
What kind of psychological effect after that did it have on you?
It really it made me step my game up. Tell you that. now every time I had to make her scream like that.
Yeah.
And that's your ego. Like, I can do it too. I can't hit a baseball, but I can fuck my wife right. And no, it was not Jose Canseco, for the record.
I was going to ask if it was Trevor Bauer of the LA Dodgers.
No, it wasn't Trevor Bauer.
There are two people that we've been talking about over the last month, and there are universes that we follow and we maybe don't follow that all kind of merge. And I want to go over that. And that is the Hackverse, which we follow, and the Dabbleverse. We don't need to go into too much specifics. The Hackverse is basically a podcast community, if you want to use that term, of a bunch of former radio guys, former stand-up comedians, has-beens, never-was-beens, that all talk shit about each other. And in that realm is a show called the Steel Toe Morning Show with this guy Imholte and his wife April Imholte. Okay, so that's sort of in the Hackverse, the Dabbleverse, which we have both done numerous amounts of content on and discussed, and it's how we met, quite frankly. And then we had introduced to us the Lawtubeverse in the form of one Nick Rekieta of Rekeita Law, who is a law YouTuber, which is a whole nother community. So these three podcast verses sort of merged in an interesting way, and we've all been fascinated with it because we have these YouTubers that have this, I wouldn't even call them YouTubers, but they're grown-ass men with families who just cannot fucking turn the computer off and not stream. And it's wrecking their lives, and we're watching it all unfold. It's a train wreck. So that brings us to swinging and why I even brought all this up. So you have Steel Toe Morning Show, Aaron Imholte and his wife, April Imholte, have this event. And Nick Rekeita, they find out Nick Rekeita, who has, let me set the popularity contest first, okay? People in the Hackverse, Dabbleverse, 15,000, 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's the head honchos. That's the big fish, okay? Nick Rekeita has over 400,000 subscribers. He gained a huge following during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. He was doing live streaming analysis, law analysis, and I think that just launched him. He was getting 100,000 live viewers. People in the Hackverse, Dabbleverse, if they're getting 1,000 viewers on a live, that's big time stuff. So in a way, Nick Rekeita, he went down to enter this universe through Aaron Imholte in the Steel Toe Morning Show. So he goes over 45 minutes away to Aaron's event, does some stand-up stuff. At that event, Aaron Imholte and April Imholte started hanging out with Nick Rekeita and his wife. So the four of them seemed to have some fireworks. In the receding months, they started doing some streams together. They did a quote-unquote hot tub stream together. And people started analyzing things and starting to notice April's eye for Nick Rekeita. And there were some swinging jokes floating around, and they were kind of buying into the act and all this stuff. Rumors flying around, swinging between the four. Some looks to be drug use. Eventually, it all fucking comes to an head when one of these men, Nick Rekeita, and his ego, he decides, I'm going to live stream and I'm going to be fucking Rekeited, bro. I mean, this guy was fucking wasted on this live stream. Just fucking rip-roared. He started on the stream. So this happens, and it was bad. It looked bad. And this is why Nick Rekeita, as smart as he is, as great of a lawyer he is, all his 400,000 subscribers, he's a fuck up. And this moment probably ruined his life. Because he's, a word I learned from you, braggadocious. He's fucking braggadocious.
He's very smug.
Yes, smug and braggadocious. So after that live stream, the cat's out the bag. And Aaron Imholte starts running his mouth and exposes himself as what I would basically say is a cuck.
Yes.
So I think your story, you and Johnny Kush and your swinging lifestyle, you have sort of insight to this, and you were kind of reading Aaron, and I think Aaron is the reason you brought that story up.
Yes.
Go ahead. Take over for a second.
No, I understand where he's coming. He's a guy who's he's a nerd. He's a nerdy guy. Mm-hmm. The only thing he's ever done in his life probably smoked a little weed and maybe had too many. What do they drink up in Minneapolis up there? The Gold Belt or Grain Belt Premium. He probably had one too many grainies and maybe smoked a little weed one night. And then all of a sudden, his wife is on this podcast with Christy Mayer. Mm-hmm. And Chrissy Mayer goes, "Oh, hey, have you met Nick? I guess you guys live close to each other." And I saw Nick's eyes just light up. He's like, "Oh, really? Somebody with no podcast numbers lives in my community. I can do whatever I want to them because they're going to want to suck my dick to get my $1 million super chats." And then he invites him over, Nick. They get to know each other, and now they're popping mollies, ecstasies. So
we know all this because Aaron can't keep his mouth shut. But after the fact, after this disastrous live stream, it was like that was Aaron's opportunity to just run his damn mouth, which he should have just kept shut.
But the thing with Aaron is Aaron didn't see anybody trying to fuck his wife. He just saw a guy that was successful in podcasting, and he's been scratching and clawing every day. He gets something. He's like, "I'm so much better than everybody else. I'm a radio guy." And by the way, he wasn't really a radio guy. He was a guy that broadcasted in St. Cloud, Minnesota, on a very weak tower. It wasn't maybe 800,000 people were exposed to his show a day, if that. And he sees this guy succeeding, and all he does is talk about, "Hey, if I hang out with this guy, maybe I can get some ratings too. Figure out what he's doing." And the next thing you know, you're over there, and I've been in this situation too. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you go to somebody's house and they pour you out a couple of drinks, and you're like, "Okay." And all of a sudden they bring out this Ziploc bag full of pills, and they're like, and they both take one, and then they look at your wife, and she goes, "Oh, fuck it, steel toe. Let's just try it once." And then Aaron's sitting there with the pill in his hand, looking, going, if I want to increase my ratings, I got to be friends with this guy. And if I don't do this drug right now, oh my God, what's going to happen? He's not going to be my friend. So he'll pop it. So what happens after you've been drinking, smoking a little weed, and popping an ecstasy? What happens? All of a sudden, the girls sit next to each other. And next thing you know, I'm touching my wife, he's touching their wife. All of a sudden, their wives are kissing. Next thing you know, you've had this just group sex thing going on. Anything goes. Any touch feels great. And now you look over, you're high. You've never been high before. You don't know what the hell's going on. Everything feels good. The back of your neck is hot. It's sweating. I don't know why ecstasy does that to you. But you got a throbbing hard cock, and you're ready to go. And his tiny little wife, she maybe weighs 80 pounds. And you're like, you know what? I'll fuck his wife. I guess if she wants, all right, let's do it. Then you wake up the next day, and I can already see the look on Aaron's eyes. I know this guy. You wake up the next day, and he's like, holy shit. What did I do? Oh my God, no. Holy shit, no. Oh, fuck, no. Oh, my kids. Oh, shit. What am I doing?
I think you're giving him too much credit, because I think he did do that, but it was after that disastrous live stream and a few months later.
Well, he finally got to the point where he's like, I'm not a drug guy. I can't do cocaine like this. I'm not this guy.
Yeah, he wised up.
He's like, "Mo, you do it." And you're like, "Okay, it was fun and whatever, but like, I got to work today." Yeah, I can't be strung out today.
Right.
But he didn't get hooked on it, but his wife sure did. And once you get a woman turned on, oh my God, watch out. Holy shit. I went out with girls that were hooked, and they would literally just go out and grab the first guy they could find and just bang him right there. I mean, they get that horny.
Wow.
And I keep telling all these guys too that have all this judgment and, "Oh, he slept with this guy's wife," and they go, "Have you ever had a couple of drinks and been in a room with a naked person?" Then you can make a judgment, because until then, there's nothing more fun than that in this earth. There's not an experience in life that's better than banging out broads on being blackout drunk. There's nothing better in the world. Name one better thing that you could expect. Nothing. And what we have is a bunch of these fucking incel guys, or guys that have been with the same women for 30 years, sitting judging everybody. Oh, they swapped wives. He's a cock. No, they had a great time. What else is there better than banging out some strange?
You see, you just said it. You just said it. And this is, Aaron is not. I feel like I know him too, and I think he's full of shit. And I think the thing that I caught that he said, and I know how men are, and we know how men are, and we're going to be honest, and we're going to have the type of conversation right now that you won't hear many people talk about the way we do it. And that is Aaron. I caught him kind of going over all this, and he basically said, I wanted some strange.
Yes.
That desire for strange is a powerful desire. And when that seed was planted in his head, or that seed has always been in his head, he had to then, in order for me to get quote unquote strange, I'm going to have to cuck my wife out. And cucking is a technical, if we want to get technical about it, it's really between three people, and one of them is the odd man out watching. But I think it's understood that if you let someone else fuck your wife, you're kind of a cuck. I think there are two people who are at fault, and I have a little bit of different view than you. I do appreciate your view, but Johnny Kush's lifestyle is a lifestyle that's not for everyone, but you're not like Aaron, what am I trying to get at? I don't want to come off holier than thou, but
no, I don't have any. I'm not responsible for anybody but myself, and he's responsible for three other human beings.
Exactly, and that's where I'm going to come in and do the turn a little bit, because I'm coming at it from, I'm older than these guys. Aaron's late 30s, Nick Rekeita's probably mid 40s. But if they were single, I wouldn't have a problem, and I shouldn't have a problem with it. It's really none of my business. But if you're going to stream it, it becomes everyone's business, and you're going to blabber like Aaron does. It's everyone's business. I think the most innocent person in all of this is April. April doesn't have kids. Those are not April's kids.
No.
And she can do whatever. She has free reign to do whatever she wants. She's an adult. If she wants to fuck and do drugs over here, that's her right. Aaron put her in that position, and it's because he wanted strange, and that clouded his vision because monogamy is what I wanted to talk about. Monogamy is not an easy thing.
Well, the other thing is too is they weren't the only couple over at the Rekeita's houses. Been to it.
I didn't know that, but you could tell from the pattern of behavior, from the things that Rekeita says on his streams when he gets really out, when he really breaks out of that law, and he's just like, I'm an anarchist or whatever. I'm just gonna do what the fuck I want. I'm gonna say what I fucking want. Really shocking kind of stuff. He lets the freak flag fly on his live stream. So, it's clear. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about is people use the term groom. Like, oh, Nick Rekeita groomed him. Nick Rekeita did this. Nick Rekeita did that. Let me tell you something. Aaron would like to paint the picture that April is a clout chaser or, what is it? A gold digger. Fact of the matter is, they're both gold diggers. If Nick Rekeita didn't have 400,000 YouTube subscribers, that's his currency. Aaron wouldn't have let him fuck his wife. You think?
No, Aaron wouldn't even.
No.
Do you think? Aaron would hang out with me, even though that we had a lot in common? No, because I only have 5 people that watch me, so there's no point on being my friend.
Exactly. So he's full of shit when he goes on there and he's like everybody else. He's blaming everyone. He's like, oh, I take credibility. I take my part in it. He brought her to the den. You know what I mean? He was gonna move his fucking kids there.
Yep.
I wanted to make that point that Aaron was gold digging too. Doesn't matter. He's full of shit. He was gold digging. He saw Rekieta is, once again, the problem with Aaron is Aaron has a family. He's got 3 kids, and he puts his stupid steel toe show with 12,000 subscribers first over everything else. We are to protect our kids. We had kids, now they're our responsibility. You're not protecting your kids when you bring them to that environment over and over again over a month, several months, and then a month later, you're suddenly you've seen the error of your ways, and you're holier than thou. No, it doesn't work that way.
I mean, even looking at going back to Opie and Anthony, Howard Stern. Those guys had never talked about their kids.
Howard did go into that, but that's I'm glad you brought that up, because I think about that. These guys think they're Howard. It's like, it's worth Howard to talk to back in the early Howard days when he'd get his ex-wife on the phone and they'd argue. He would bring his personal life into it, but he was making millions. It's different. It's different. When you're ruining your personal life. When Aaron says it's my personal life and I bring it to the air, that's just me. That's what I do. I'm steel toe. You're a fucking dumbass. That's what you are. They both can't keep their fucking mouths shut. Nick Rekeita is still doing live streams, and I don't think he's incriminating himself. He's smarter than that. But the fact, we've talked about this. I'm not down with police Gestapo tactics, beating down people's doors that have kids in it because there may or may not be drugs in the house. But he fucked up. When kids are involved, the court of public opinion changes. It changes.
Well, I really didn't have a problem with any of it until the other day when they released a toxicology on his 9-year-old daughter had cocaine in her system.
Yeah, he's fucked now. He's fucked.
Yeah, that is careless. Like I said, they did this on that show Shameless. I think I've told you this before, where they were partying and then the little baby snorted the cocaine up and almost died, and then she had to go to jail for it. Mm-hmm. He's going to jail now. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it.
It is a fascinating story in that, in the law tube or legal tube, I forgot what they call it, that he is a big fish in that tube and in that genre of YouTube, and it's like now he is on the other side of it. Everyone's going to be live streaming, comment like they are now. I mean, it's a huge story. Everyone's talking about it.
In the end, the other thing too that nobody's talking about, where he's going to court up there, 99% white Lutherans. Every single jury member that's going to sit in his jury is going to be a clean-cut, white, church-going person that's never thought of wife swapping, and the thought of cocaine in a 9-year-old kid's hair is beyond. This guy is going to get the book thrown at him. And all he's doing is pissing everybody off. He's pissing the prosecuting attorney off. He's already talking about the judge. This guy, I can't wait to see this guy get 25 years. It's going to be hilarious.
It is. He's smug and braggadocious. And I think I heard you talk about root cause analysis, or maybe not, but the root cause analysis and the root cause of this getting out to the public sphere is him and that disastrous live stream. If that live stream didn't happen, I don't think any of this, we would even be talking about this right now. Am I wrong?
Well, the police were watching the live streams because of what Aaron said 3 weeks before when they were talking about there's too much drugs going over there. So the cops sat and watched. Literally, there was a guy that they told, you're going to watch Rekeita streams.
I thought Aaron kept his mouth shut until after that stream.
Oh, no. Aaron's the reason the investigation got opened in the first place.
That is true, but I still feel like that live stream was the tipping point. I think it's all speculation.
Well, yeah, that live
Nick Rekieta turned on that fucking live stream and just exposed himself to the world.
He did, including the guy, the sheriff that was watching it in Wilmer, Minnesota. Yeah. That right there, he edited it down. They sent it to the judge. That, like you said, that is what killed him. That's what took. They're like, oh, he's fucked up. Look at his eyes.
It's his own fucking fault. He can say, oh, the government. Now he's trying this whole thing. I'm fighting the government. You're fighting yourself because you're a dumbass and you're a fuck up. And there are people like Aaron, and I'm going to trace Aaron's fuck ups. And there are people like Nick Rekieta who are fuck ups. And sometimes people are born fuck ups. And generally, they continue to be fuck ups. Some people are fuck ups early on, and then they turn their shit around and are not fuck ups in the adult life. Some people self-sabotage themselves, and they find success, and they piss it down the toilet because they're fuck ups. Here's an example of Aaron. Here's a guy. This is why Aaron has to be questioned. And I've had Aaron on my show, and I said I'm not going to talk bad about people that are on my show.
And as I say, I ride or die with steel toe. Just don't pull a Kanye on me. Don't do anything crazy. As the kids say, I fuck with you. You ever heard that?
I fuck with you too. Yeah, no cap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, good deal. I fuck with you. Tell the lovely co-host, wife, April, send her my regards.
Absolutely.
And, I will talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later, man. Thank you.
However, I'm breaking that rule tonight because if Aaron the more I watch Aaron the last 2-3 weeks and his overacting and his Hulk Hogan, it's embarrassing. And now I feel like he's entered the realm of now he's acting. And therefore, for me, that's when I'm turned off. I liked Aaron. I respected him. Especially, I was a fan. I'm happy to admit that early on, especially. But over the last 6 months to a year, it's just been a disaster, and it's of its own doing. So let me go into the details. Here's one way you can really say, oh, this guy's a fuck up. You're getting a fucking divorce. You have 2 kids. So him and his wife are co-parenting, and Aaron, they're getting divorced. And Aaron's next thing you know, they're fucking again. So that's fine. I get it. You know, you're splitting up. You still like having sex with each other, but you know. So, but it takes a certain kind of dumb to actually come in your ex-wife or your soon-to-be ex-wife, because you know what could happen? She could get fucking pregnant. Johnny, did you know that?
I know. I have heard that.
And guess what happened? She got fucking pregnant. So he didn't have enough self-control to pull his dick out.
And now he's got to pay $800 a month in child support.
Yeah, now he's got a third child, which he's never lived 24/7 with, which is kind of an odd thing. Usually you have a child, you live with them 24/7, then you get divorced, and then you split 50-50, whatever. So I think you have to look at that and say, well, dude, what the fuck, man? Okay, so then by his own admission, he's got this budgeting radio career in Minnesota, and he gets butthurt because he wanted a certain position at this radio station, and this other lady got it. So what does he do? He starts making fun of her on the air. He starts getting Melton-like type after her, after this other Minnesota DJ gets some job that he wanted. So he just starts going after her hardcore, you know. Then he gets fired for it. He gets run off a radio for it. I know this. He's told me this. I've interviewed him about this, and I've heard him say it on his own show. So because he just couldn't keep his fucking mouth shut, once again, he ruined his radio career because of stupid shit. And he pissed it away once again. Smug, braggadocious, immature. So now he's got 3 kids. Dude falls in love easier than you, Johnny. No offense. and so gets remarried. Braggadocious about that. And then goes to the internet. Comes out really strong. That's when I met him. That's when I got to know him, because I started watching clips of him and April talking about certain, pop culture, or Brendan Schaub or whatever. I was like, all right, this guy's, I kind of like him. He kind of reminds me of Anthony Cumia. I like the fact that he's pretty bold and he's got opinions, and he's not afraid to voice them. So I thought it was good, like when he first came out, and then it kind of unraveled. But his the other reason he's a fuck up is what's going right now. Once again, we talked about what's going on now.
Yeah.
It's one, he fucked up by entering into this Rekeita situation. It's like, okay, that's three major life fuck ups right here. He's the type of guy, to me, that he may recover, but he's going to do something stupid again. Like, it's pretty obvious he's going to be married pretty soon. He's one of these guys that cannot be single. And he looks, to me, he seems like one of these guys he could give you a good first impression, this, that, and the other, and then next thing you know, you're married and you're stepmom to his 3 kids, and you're wondering, what the fuck am I doing here? Aaron's going to say, hey, this has been good for business, and he has said that. But at the end of the day, this is the biggest thing with swinging. I feel like, or that lifestyle, so to speak. Like, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It's not for me, and I'll go into why. But it's short-term gain. That's what everything is. That's what these guys like Aaron. That's what these guys like Nick Rekieta. They're thinking about short-term gain. They're thinking about short-term pleasure. But when you're in a marriage and you have kids, especially young kids, you have to think long term. And these guys, I respect people who are who say, I am not cut out to have children, male or female, and they don't. They should get medals. No one should say, oh, what's wrong with you? You're single at 50. Why don't you have any kids? Something's wrong with you. No. If they're saying, you know what, I just know I'm not wired to have kids. We don't need people having kids that aren't wired to have kids. That's a huge fucking problem. And when you have this responsibility, going back to beginning, like you said, you have to be smarter. You have to once again think long term. I've been around several swinging couples, and it never ends well. They're all divorced. It's a fucking disaster.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I ever got married again, I would never swing again. I would never do it again. Because what nobody ever talks about in the swinging community, not one, you'll never hear this from anybody, but this is the truth. Mm-hmm. You get done, you both come, you both get in the car, and you're sitting in the car. That is the longest drive home. It's the most quiet, most gut-wrenching. Nobody talks about that. It is the most gut-wrenching drive home. And then to get in the shower, and then you sit on your side of the bed, and you just stare at the wall, and she stares at the other wall. You're married. The first time you swing, your marriage is over. I mean, it's not, I like to have a lot of sex. I thought that would be the, instead of cheating on my wife, why don't we just both cheat with each other? Mm-hmm. That's going to be the way to, no, it's not. Like I said, nobody ever describes that ride home, because it is eerie. That feeling really takes down the high you have for getting estranged. I'd rather cheat from now on. If I want strange, I'm going to cheat and not tell her. That's the best way to go.
Yeah. I've experienced, I haven't physically experienced anything like this, but I've mentally experienced a lot of different things. I've been on this earth. I have a lot for a while, and I've had a lot of different tests, experiences I've gone through. Sometimes I made the wrong decision. Sometimes I made the right decision. And because I have that experience, and I commend you for your 36 years on earth, you have a ton of experience. You're rich in experience, as you said the other night.
Yes.
And I do question your dress for that, but we'll But so it's easier for me to have gone through these certain things and be able to look back, or to be able to look at someone like Aaron or someone like Nick Rekieta and say, you fucked up, and this is why, and this is how. They have to go through that experience and if they come out of the back end of it, and they may have the same opinion that you have now. I would never do it again. And that's of all the people I've known that have done this, and I've heard all the details, they all say the same thing. It was a blast when they were doing it, but I had a friend say the exact same thing you said. Really good friend, a couple I've known for a long time. He said, I should never let anyone else fuck my wife.
Yeah, you have the post-cum regret.
Well, look,
it's like you want it, you finally get it, you blow your load, and I'm just saying, like, I gotta get the fuck out. What did I do? What am I doing? I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. And I think and I think Aaron's, once again, going back to Aaron, I want to get off it in a second because I want to go into more of my personal stuff, but Aaron's desire, this is what I think it all boils down to, and this is why I think Aaron is the root cause for all of this. His desire for, as he said, I just wanted some strange, because that's a real thing. You get into a marriage, and this is the only person you're going to make love to, have sex with, fulfill your sexual desires and needs for the rest of your life. That is pretty fucking serious stuff to think about. That could be a real mind fuck, especially when you're a horny male like we all are. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. You get wrapped up in the beginning, the honeymoon phase, like Aaron, like Johnny Kush, and then next thing you know, you're married. And for me personally, like, there are times when let me think how I'm going to put this. Things are hot and heavy. I love my wife, okay? And we might start bouncing on. We are just really into it. We might start bouncing ideas. I might have some things in my head, some really weird kinks or whatever. And then we don't get around to them. And then after we're done, I'm like, oh my God, thank God we didn't do that. You know what I mean? The testing ground for anything between couples is to say, if I could have sex with a celebrity, would you let me have sex with for her? It'd be like Gavin Rossdale. That's what all the chicks love, Gavin Rossdale.
Fucking fucker.
I know. So, because that's the easy discussion to have, because it will never happen. But you're opening a door to think about, would I let, whether it be a celebrity or someone else, have sex with my wife? Okay. And then if I get Gwen Stefani, would I do it? I realized that I would not want anyone. I'm jealous in a way. I wouldn't want anyone else with my wife. As hot and heavy as all that lifestyle may sound, and it might allow me to have sex with quote unquote strange, I know deep down I wouldn't do it because I love my wife, and I have to. I think that's really important, to think about. Do you really love someone if you're willing to? And maybe the answer is yes. Maybe you love them so much you want them to get as much pleasure as they can that you can't provide them. So there is possibility of that. But I just know it's a disaster for a marriage. And I call it the forbidden fruit, Johnny. We have a forbidden fruit addiction or everywhere. And we always want what we can't have.
Yes.
Nick Rekieta was like, I'm watching the Steel Toe show and they're in Minnesota. I'd love to fuck that April. She is something else. That's a forbidden fruit. Fucking some other dude's wife's forbidden fruit, but he wants to touch it. He wants to see how close he can get to it. And once that wheel starts going, and these occasions are set up, and that line gets closer and closer to being crossed, it's a forbidden fruit. It's why men run off with their sister-in-laws. What's the ultimate forbidden fruit for a man? His wife's sister or his wife's best friend. What makes him want them more? Because it is forbidden. That's the desire, something that you can't have. Do you feel where I'm coming from with that?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. We always want what we can have. And then when you get it, it's the theory of the dog chasing the car. And then he finally caught it. And he's like, what am I going to do now?
Yes.
It's like the Roadrunner finally getting caught by the coyote. Now what's the fucking coyote going to do the rest of the day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a height of enlightenment. When you can get to that point, when you start to understand that the grass isn't always greener, you're going to have to make sacrifices. Once you make the decision to have children that are dependent on you, and I believe better in a two headroom. I'm not against divorce, don't get me wrong, but a two parent household are best for children's development. That you brought them into this environment. They didn't ask to be here. So I take that really serious. And my judgment may be a little clouded on that when I'm judging other fathers like a Nick Rekieta or an Aaron Imholte. But I feel like being a father of many kids, I have that right to sort of judge them, because once again they did put it all on the internet for us to talk about, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I understand why they did it and what it feels good. But like you said, when you enter that contract of being a parent, that lifestyle's over. It's over. In hindsight, I did 12 straight years Rekeated every night. I would get shit-faced. Up until 6 weeks ago, I would get blackout drunk and go on the thing. And now, all of a sudden, I'm sober and people are listening to me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
You're growing up,
It's like,
Johnny.
it's like they can understand what I'm saying. So even I have matured. Mr. I guess I recated to start, and now I'm unrecating.
No, Johnny, we can have this conversation because you understand life and you understand what I'm talking about without having to be in your 50s. And then I commend you for that. You're a wise behind your years. And for you to be able to have the maturity to say, yeah, I did all these things. They're fucking fun. I got fucking recated, swinging, all that stuff, cocaine. You talk about it on Marijuana Happy Hour Network, MHH Network. I love listening to your stories, and but you can also in those crazy stories on your podcasts every night. You always have an enlightenment, and you just had one a little while ago. If I ever get married again, I will never let anyone fuck my wife. And you had good rationale behind that because you understand. Some people don't get that. Some people don't have that enlightenment. I don't know if Rekeita is ever going to have that enlightenment. He's too fucking far up his own ass, just like Aaron.
I mean, even at my absolute worst, I had a code.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hurt other people. You don't do shit that's going to hurt somebody else and hurt innocent people.
Yeah.
You want to party? You stay in your fucking house and party. You don't get in your car and drive all over the place. See, I've always been a responsible guy when it comes to, I don't want to hurt anybody else. If what I'm doing is going to hurt you, I'm not going to do it. But if I do it in my own home with other people that are into what I'm doing, that's fine. But these assholes that go out and get in their cars and get all fucked up and are not responsible, they shouldn't be drinking. They shouldn't be doing any of this stuff. I mean, you got to watch out for the welfare of other people.
Bingo. That's the libertarian view. That's kind of the way I see it as well.
And even at my absolute highest addicted thing, I never, ever would put any innocent people in danger. I mean, the worst I would do is oversleep. And that's what these guys don't understand. And that's the problem. So these guys that are hiding this shit, like the Rekeitas and the Aarons, and Aaron's driving home just completely fucked up. So you don't care. Yeah. You don't care about anybody else but himself. It's about what's in it for me.
Exactly.
What's it going to do for me? Oh my God, my wife left me. But oh my God, people are watching. I'm getting my super chats. I'm getting paid.
Yeah, I'm embarrassing my family, but that's okay. I'm ruining other people's lives, like my ex-wife, but that's okay. I'm sure his ex-wife doesn't like him going on the air, it's selfish. It's really selfish. You hit it on the head right there. It's selfish people doing selfish things, and selfish people should not have kids. Period.
Never. I grew up in a household with a selfish parent. You know, it's not good for you. You end up like me. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up with him. He's done. He's cooked.
Yeah, I think so.
His his 15 minutes are up. And like I keep telling these guys, who is the biggest cuck of all time? Is Bubba the Love Sponge.
Yeah.
He let Hulk Hogan fuck his wife. Now look what happened to him.
Yes. And it's funny you said that, because I watched a clip today of Aaron talking about Bubba the Love Sponge, and somehow this story crossed over into the Bubba the Love Sponge world. And Bubba was like, man, that dude's a hack, talking about Aaron. And Aaron was like, no, Bubba, I like you, Bubba. I like you. And it's like, could you be any more of a cuck? This guy just said you're a hack. And you're still begging for his attention. You know, be a man. What the fuck?
He wants that Bubba army so bad. And like I said, Bubba, it ruined his career.
He's a fuck up. Like these other people I've told you about. They go on these spurts, they get successful, and they fuck it up somehow. Whether they themselves around with other people that fuck it up for them. Bubba the Love Sponge, yes. John, yes. In 2005, Sirius X, Bubba's on top of the world, yeah, and he fucked it up. He fucked it up.
Yeah, he's just a goof. He really is a goof. That's the call.
This guy's a fuck up. Yeah, I respect the fact that you gained an audience, you had a radio career, you had more subscribers than I'll ever have, but I could still say you were a fuck up, And
I do respect Bubba for the rebuild. He's up to 12 affiliates. Mm-hmm. He's got a nice, skinny, big-titted woman that he's going to marry. And
that's going to end well.
I don't. How does Bubba? I don't know.
When are these fucking guys gonna realize? Don't get fucking married anymore. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, when I cut a check for $737,000, I put that up, a copy of it on my wall, and every time I think about proposing, I'm going to take a look at that check and go, "Are you dumb? Are you dumb?
Mm-hmm.
Are you stupid?" And it first started out as $150,000. Fuck you, that's too much. Well, I should have just gave her the money then. But that's for a whole other story, whole other night.
Yeah, we'll save that one.
But no, I still like my ex-wife. I don't hate her. I just know I don't want to be married to her. It's that simple.
Yeah,
I don't want to live in the middle of fucking nowhere. I gotta be in a city environment.
Look, man, I have no problem with it. If two single people get together, don't have kids, and for whatever fucking reason they go their separate ways and get divorced, fine. I don't think you should have to write a $750,000 check, but here's another thing I wanted to talk about is honesty. And I'm saying this not to say I'm holier than thou. I learned the hard way on all this stuff, right? But when my wife, I was honest with her. We all put masks on, males, females. When you start dating, you put a mask on because you're not going to come out on a first date and start talking about your crazy kinks. Maybe Johnny Kush would, and it depends. I knew it's like, okay, if I'm dating, all right, if I date this person and I get to know them a little while, I want to have sex with them. B, I want to get serious with them and have sex with them. you know, or C, I'm head over heels and I'll wait to have sex with them. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like when you're dating, it's those three categories, and depending on what it is how that mask will, you know, will show itself, or what mask you're gonna wear. I think it's important to be honest. Like, if I'm dating someone on the front end, at some point the discussions could be had of, you know, why are we even here? But one thing I did with my wife, and we've been married for almost 10 years, is I you know, of course you got to wear the mask, but for the most part, as we started getting closer and hanging out more, I may, you know, even I was always honest with her, and I could tell her my desires, you know what I'm saying, and I don't hide them from her. So I'm not doing things behind her back. I would rather say, hey, I'm a freak, this is what I'm into, and she would be like, nah, I'm good, or you're fucking crazy. And that's okay, because sometimes we need accountability. You know, if I'm coming up with some idea like, hey, you know what I was thinking about, maybe we could swing, she'll be like, what the fuck? You know, that's you need to be held accountable for saying that, because that's just a fucking terrible idea. You know what I mean? So I guess what I'm saying is I don't hide anything from my wife. And I think that's super important. But I wouldn't want to degrade her or make her do anything that she doesn't want to do, because I love her. Right.
Well, one of the good things right now about the modern Amazon age is you can go on and get 7 different wigs and have 7 different women throughout the year.
I hear you, man.
A woman with a wig on. A woman can put a wig on, and all of a sudden she's a completely different woman. There's your Strange.
There
it's
you go.
Pretty simple marriage tip from old Uncle Johnny there.
No, yeah. So I think you have to, all you younger boys and girls out there, you have to be honest without being creepy. You know, as things progress, you don't want to hide things. Like, I have a clear conscience, and that took time and understanding and failed relationships to get to that point. I wasn't like that in the beginning, but I'm comfortable enough with myself, my sexuality, and to have, you know, to be honest and to have these discussions, so there isn't anything nefarious going on behind the scenes. I'm not out trying to fulfill my kinks when I have kids in the next room. You know what I mean? Like, and doing stupid shit like Aaron was doing.
I've been in committed relationships where I went out and cheated, and then halfway through, when I was cheating on my girlfriend, it's like, oh my God, I really do have something special at home, and I'm fucking it up right now. Sometimes you need to cheat to realize how good you have it at home.
Yeah.
For a lot of guys. A lot of guys will cheat on their wives and go, holy shit, I really do love my wife. She understands me way better than anybody else. Oh my, what did I do? This Strange is not any fun. Strange is not fun. No. Strange is not for the normal. Yeah. Strange brings a lot of problems.
And you know what? And so does marriage, though.
Everybody's, you know, you get to that point where you're like, man, I just want to fuck this chick, and then you go and do it, and you're like, oh shit, I actually had everything I wanted at home.
Yeah.
And a lot of chicks too will notice, because like after their husbands cheat on them, now all of a sudden we're like really nice to them. Like, oh my God, I've been such a dick to her. I got to be nice to her. There isn't any other women like the one I have at home. I got to be nice. And they're like, what's wrong with this guy? He did something.
Yeah. I think like before I said, there's 2 addictions. Well, there's a major addiction, and that's the addiction to the forbidden fruit, wanting to have something you can't have, and then fixating on it, and you can't get it out of your mind. And the other one would be, I think people are addicted to the honeymoon phase that every relationship goes through. It's when those masks are on, shit's doesn't get real yet. We love that phase. We all desire that phase, but that is what it is. It's just a phase. And I think guys like Aaron, he gets into that honeymoon phase, and then he puts a ring on it. Because like I said, he's gonna do it again.
Here's what happens: the honeymoon phase in real life is after the 5th sexual experience. Once you've had sex with somebody 5 times, you know everything they like, you know what gets them off, you know the shortcuts, And there's no more trying new things. It's over. You figured it out. You got the rhythm figured out. So now you're gonna keep playing the same script now for the rest of your life.
Well, like I said before, everyone goes into a relationship, a first date, not really who they truly are. They're given the best representation of themselves, right?
Yes.
And over time, shit gets real, so to speak. And some people are lucky and they have a soulmate, which you could finish each other's sentences. You never get in fights. That's very rare, and if people have that, they're very lucky. But everyone else, it is it's not easy, and it's a roller coaster. And you got to grow the fuck up a lot,
You've had different life experiences up to this point. You've seen the world through different eyes, and sometimes you're just not going to see it eye to eye. It's just the way it is. No matter how hard you try or how hard you convince somebody, goddamn wife's still voting for Trump. I don't know what's wrong with her.
Well, even careers the same way. There've been some through my career. There's been positions and jobs I've had that I probably should have stayed at, that I jumped too soon, thinking the grass was greener on the. That's the thing. The grass is always greener. I mentioned this earlier. I'm now keen to that. I realize the grass is not always greener. So before I make any major moves career-wise, relationships aren't an option anymore, obviously, and I'm okay with that. But the grass is always greener. When I realize that's not the case, it makes me make smarter decisions. I'm not making that, once again, instant gratification decision. I start. You invest in where you're at because you realize that if you're always in this loop of looking for something better and always looking for something you think's going to be better or utopia, it's not out there, and you're going to be going through a lot of relationships. You're going to be going through a lot of jobs, and you're going to realize at the end of them all, you're still not fulfilled. So be fulfilled the best way you can in the situation you're in.